Welcome back to Up Front. Top Republicans say they're looking at changing state law on special elections after a judge's ruling went against them. A Dane County judge last week ruled that Governor Walker must call special elections for vacant seats in the 42nd Assembly District and the 1st Senate District. A group affiliated with former Democratic Attorney General Eric Holder sued the governor over his failure to call the elections. The governor says the seat should be filled in the regular November election. Friday, Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald said the judge's ruling will create chaos in those districts and said he's looking at changing the law on when special elections need to be held. He also asked Chief Justice Pat Roggensack to discipline the Dane County judge for, in his words, politicizing her ruling. We're talking about all of this today with Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, who had his own criticism of the ruling last week. Speaker Vos, good to have you back on the program.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
So are you on board with what the Senate Majority Leader is talking about? You're going to change the special election law.
I certainly am. I mean, and there's a couple reasons to do that. First of all, we announced on Friday that we're going to have an extraordinary session to bring the legislature back to actually talk about fixing what, frankly, we should have fixed earlier on in this session. But the tradition has always been that if the person's not going to take their seat until after the legislature has their final session, there's no sense putting the taxpayers through the expense of an election, knowing that literally a couple weeks later, people circulate nomination papers for the exact same office with an election in November. So I think Governor Walker was right to say that the election should be held in November. We know that a couple of years ago, we moved our primary back. If you remember, it used to be after Labor Day. Now it's about a month earlier in August. We just made a mistake and didn't move the date for this special election to be triggered. So that's all we're really going to look to do.
Couldn't the governor have avoided all this if soon after those two seats had become vacant, he'd call the special election?
Well, it's the same kind of thing, though. They would have taken office sometime in April. We're finished. There's no sense having somebody on the taxpayers' dime when there's no session that's going to be happening.
Why is there no sense in that? Just because, I mean, you are still representing the people of that district. You just don't shut down your representation.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's our job, is primarily to vote, to have committee hearings, to listen to our constituents. And really, starting on April 15th, we are in our districts running for re-election. So I think that's exactly what we would want people to do. And having somebody who takes office, never has a single day on the floor, never casts a single vote in the legislature, seems to me to be a waste of taxpayer resources, and especially for those local communities, the clerks, the chaos that's caused. Literally, you walk up to somebody to have them sign 2 sets of nomination papers for an office, one in June, another one in the fall. Doesn't make any sense to me.
The chief judge in Dane County didn't like what you had to say about the judge, Judge Reynolds, who made this ruling. You said it was a political ruling. You said she was an activist judge. Do you stand by those comments?
I do. I mean, I think, unfortunately...
Even though she was appointed by Governor Walker.
Well, and she's also endorsed Rebecca Dallet. So, as I said in my availability, once in a while, myself, Governor Walker, all of us get it wrong with an appointment. So in Dane County, unfortunately, you have to be an ultra-liberal to be able to get elected. I know Governor Walker has appointed conservatives, and they've all been defeated because liberal activists are the only ones who are elected in Dane County, it seems. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the ruling that she would take. I think my colleague, Senator Fitzgerald, agrees that she made a decision that we don't stand by. But we believe in separation of powers. She has the right to make that decision. The legislature now has the right to come and correct it and hopefully have it signed by Governor Walker.
The chief judge went pretty far in his comments, and this is William Hanrahan, and he said about you, he said, you took the low road when you made this criticism of Judge Reynolds. He said, with a broad brush, you have not only needlessly besmirched my reputation, the chief judge's reputation, and that of my colleagues, you have also gratuitously denigrated the good citizens of Dane County. He said, you can't be taken seriously as a statesman because of comments like that.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that people who live in Dane County don't understand that, you know, Lee Sherman Dreyfus always said, what is Madison? It's reality, or it's 30 square miles surrounded by reality. I think that's what I see on a regular basis. There are good, decent people in Dane County, but I think that their view of the world is distinctly different from a lot of the rest of the state. I want judges who follow the rule of the law. I want judges who actually defer to the legislature. I want them to make sure that they are not politicizing their rulings. And by and large, I have seen that in almost every issue, from Act 10, right to work, voter ID, a Dane County judge elected by very liberal voters overruled the will of the legislature, only to be turned back by a court at a different level. Sometimes the appeals court, sometimes the federal court, sometimes the Supreme Court. They can't be taken seriously there.
You've heard the argument from Democrats. They say Republicans are running scared. They looked at what happened when Patty Shockner won up in northwestern Wisconsin in a legislative race, and they're afraid it's going to happen again. They're going to lose an important Senate seat. What do you say to that?
Well, not for me. I mean, I am out recruiting candidates right now. I am optimistic. I know that every single time that we go through an election cycle, Democrats predict that they're going to take over the state, that the public's finally going to turn. Record low unemployment, surplus, we're returning money back to the taxpayers, we're focusing on their priorities. I am very confident that we're going to do it, but you still have to follow the law, and the fact that we're going to have this chaos adds nothing to the debate other than giving Democrats the ability to try to scream some kind of foul.
So my final question is about the governor's school safety plan. So it's passed. It was a bipartisan vote, and you tried to add another piece of legislation to it that would tighten up some of our gun laws for long guns, background checks on long guns. Senate Majority Leader Fitzgerald says it's not going anywhere. They're not going to do that. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's a shame. So we have two background check systems in Wisconsin. One, the federal national background check system. It's the instant background, where it looks at all weapons. It looks at all firearms, handguns and long guns. Wisconsin has another system with an entirely different set of databases that we run only handguns through. So if you're in the CCAP system, that information is not shared with the federal government for their background check system. Now, in the legislation that was signed by President Trump on Friday, they're actually doing something called Fix NICS, which is the national background check system. They're going to take all of Wisconsin's databases, marry the two together. All that we did was to say, let's take all the databases that we have, use them for all the weapons until they get married to the federal system, and then we have hopefully one background check system that is comprehensive. To me, it's something that's supported by the Freedom Caucus, by the NRA in Washington. It certainly is something that we should all support here, because I don't want a criminal with guns. Most people who I know who support the Second Amendment strongly believe that if you're a criminal or a felon, you shouldn't have access to weapons. This just helps make sure that happens.
But it's not going to happen.
It certainly could. We've got 2 weeks until we come back. So I'm hoping that the public talks to the Senate and encourages them to take this bill up.
You don't think it's dead?
No, I don't think it's dead. I think the public always has an opportunity to influence the process.
All right. Speaker Robin Vos from Racine County. It's good to have you back on the program.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate it. Our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, has the story of other legislation approved by lawmakers, including the $100 per child tax rebate and the sales tax holiday. You'll find that on the Quorum Call blog at WisPolitics.com and on Twitter. Russian Twitter trolls have reached Wisconsin. We'll be talking about the divisions they stoked and why. Next on Upfront.